That's one of the things about me having the education. I had to. I had to help homeless people who are victimized into homelessness navigate a system that is created to only help people who have resources or a friend or family member who cares. The reason I was able to help people out so efficiently is because I understood that the victims know what they need better than I do. They know their situation better than I do. And if I am continually second guessing their motives or their needs, well, by the time I'm done arguing with them because I'm a piece of crap, they could end up dead. A lot of people wanted me to keep their name secret, and I was like, well, help me to turn it into the cops like you said you would. And there's got to be something that we. There's no. I got it. Oh my God, I got it. Although it does suck bouncing back and forth between Starbucks and the store. At least I got something going on. Hopefully I don't get into too much trouble for having my, oh my God, yes, that'll be perfect. Short cheese pizza. I can do that. That's what's so stiff. I don't know why it always asks me if I need a bag. I get all my pots from the dispensary. Bad joke. Oh my God, do I hear a Jared? I'm removing them. God, impatient. Jared, I don't know the name of this machine because it doesn't have a name tag on it, but it's as rude as the last one, trying to force me to hurry up and remove my items from the.
So my thing is I always turn her voice off. I hate yelling at her.
You are such a sweetheart. Now, one thing that's important to note is that diagnoses are important. Mentally ill itself is not a diagnosis. Now, is it? Of course not. It covers a very wide range. I believe there's only 509 of them, 509 diagnoses in the DSM-5, which is used pretty much worldwide for diagnosing things. Even the British follow our method. Well, it's very cross. Positively positive. I don't have a paper plate, so I'll just put it on top of the box. 2 sandwiches. So the best results, put one at a time. Now we all know I'm not really good at following instructions anyway. And I'm very stupid. It says, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It'll be completely burnt on one side and hardly at all on the other one. Sure, because I'm going to make sure my stuff is okay on the other side and that I'm not getting in trouble for abandoning it there. All of the bullying that I have to deal with, the cop stuff is really bad. They play this stupidity stuff where they don't want to investigate. They just play like it's not their job, like you have to do the investigating for them. The thing is that this is what got us into this problem to begin with. Cops not taking it seriously. Caleb, I am still shocked at how good looking you are for a man of what, 75?
Close to 41.
My God, you're younger than I am?
I'll be 42 this year.
I just turned 42 last October.
I'll be November.
I wasn't funding him. Just don't tell my mama, okay? Here's the thing. He looks like he's maybe 30, 35. He's very young looking. All right, so the thing is, my friends and family didn't want to hear what was going on. They wanted to say those things you're not supposed to say to a survivor. You're not supposed to tell them how to think and feel. You're not supposed to interrupt them over and over and over again to tell them you understand. No, you don't understand because you didn't let them finish. And then you get angry when they have to start over again and explain it again because obviously you didn't let them finish. You're not getting the point. When they try to skip the first part and explain to you the part that you missed because you interrupted them. When they try to start from that part, you're lost. You're like, well, I don't get what you're trying to say. Well, that's the whole point of you listening from start to finish. Obviously, you can't listen from start to finish on everything, but on some of these situations you can. Much of what I get treated like I'm crazy for is PTSD reactions, but also much of it is me trying to keep victims' names and identities safe. Those things needed to be turned into the cops. But those victims and their identities were a part of this story and a part of the abuse. So I can't just leave them out at their every convenience. None of the bad stuff you did existed. Only the good stuff you did existed. They'll throw in my face the good stuff that you did that you never came forward about to the police or to the public when it made a difference. But you'll throw it in my face that you did those things. Well, I admitted you did those things, and you said that I slandered you. Well, take your pick. I want to tell you something. There's a matter of opinion and there's a matter of fact. And this movie here, this video here, Jamie again, the matter of fact is this man did in fact punch Jamie in the back of her head. There's the name of the video right there, Jamie again, on my channel, Sean David. This is 7 months ago. I had to flee the Dalles, Oregon because of this situation and trying to protect Jamie. But you know what? She's worth it. She's a human being and no victim left behind. Now we've got, let's see, these things here, my paperwork from the hospital from last November. Stuff about telling people how to feel, how to tell if people have respect for you. It's a pretty important one, actually. I'll probably try to video the evidence that I have of my hospital paperwork from November, because I still have it. The stuff from Hood River, I've got that recorded, obviously. And yeah, they screwed up big. They screwed up very big. That doctor got busted committing a felony. The lady that he referred me to and her organization was that Courtney lady who Marcus Ibarra worked for. I tried to turn in what was going on there. He said that it seemed screwy and fishy to him, and he was going to look into it. And he was also going to look into the thing with Jamie, which he apparently, the church property are the ones who have to press the charges. That he can't do anything about it, and neither can the cops. That's BS. What the heck is all this crap? Obviously, y'all know this stuff is dismissive. You know how wrong it is. You know that it's wrong to do to me, but you do nothing. You tell me what you tell men. You just need to get over it. You just need to love yourself. Why are we constantly bracing for further potential trauma? Because it is your history as a society to do these things to the easiest to victimize men. You talk about how all men are predators. You reward the ones that are actual predators, and you harm the ones who are not. Now, then there's the people trying to make me feel ashamed because they got sick, because they got kids, because they have this, because they have that. Well, I'm not asking you to sacrifice your firstborn child. I'm asking you to tell the truth about a situation you were there for and there for a witness to. The police tell them, oh, you can't turn in a crime against somebody else. They have to do it. When I try to turn it in, I get blown off, dismissed, talked over. That's why someone needs to go with me. The other thing is that, yes, a witness to a violent crime may file a police report about it. That is a public safety issue. Robert Farnsworth running around assaulting people is very much a public safety issue. Sending people who are disabled and abused and stalked by a bunch of junkies to a mental hospital because you're trying to frame them for murder, that's stupid. Now, of course, I told on that officer, and he's no longer an officer. Why? Because, like I said, he's violent, specifically against homeless people. He is a liability, and he's very expensive. Where was I sent? Clearview Behavioral Health. They kept me for as long as they were legally allowed to before they had to let me go. And then they made sure that I was shipped all the way to Stout Street Clinic without being allowed to stop in Louisville and get my money at the police station. Because remember, I had attempted to commit suicide over people threatening to kill my friends and family. And me being assaulted by Waylon Lolatai, oh yeah. I got Candace Bondurant admitting to her children being threatened and her being threatened. Cara Rogers, aka Caramia, Aaron Cockerham, all recorded. Many other parents, their fears for their children, fears of retaliation by the police and their brutality, especially in western Nebraska, because they all do work together. Scott DeCosta literally was able to utilize law enforcement across the entire state of Nebraska to have me shipped from one place to another and have me harmed, threatened, harassed, intimidated, and assaulted everywhere I went. He told them that I was schizophrenic and that I was a problem and that they needed to hurt me, and they did. They absolutely did. They let me know I have zero rights. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I got special treatment because the other inmates in the prison were being treated the same way. But they were in for the long haul, and I needed to be allowed my legal rights to access to my attorney, access to actually turning in these officers safely, access to the telephone. Very limited. They denied me all of my rights, and then they denied me the rights of an inmate as well, because I'm not technically an inmate to them. I'm just a number. I'm there just being held, as if you were being held at your local jail for going to court. But they had multiple court dates without me where I wasn't allowed to speak, was not allowed to take any part. Nobody at any point in time tried to look at evidence. Everybody wanted to deter me and defer me and tell me it's someone else's job or they can't do it. They took absolutely zero responsibility for their actions and outright omitted information that was pertinent to the case. It shows their motives for committing the felonies that they committed against me. It says, how do PTSD men act? Survivors with PTSD may feel distant from others and feel numb. They may have less interest in social or sexual activities because survivors feel irritable, on guard, jumpy, worried, nervous. They may not be able to relax or be intimate. They may also feel an increased need to protect their loved ones. That sounds like me to a T. Of course, I never cared about sex. My experiences with that crap as a child taught me that it's just gross, that it's just filthy and nasty, and I don't want nothing to do with it. We could be friends. You go get that stuff from somebody else. I always wanted to have kids, but I think it's an evil thing to bring kids up in this world, and I'm not interested in swapping snot with nobody. No matter which orifice that snot happens to reside or ooze from. I'm being harmed for having PTSD reactions to long-term abuse. When your predators have badges, it's their word versus yours. They can cut you off and prevent you from having access to any and everything that you need to prove your innocence. And that is what you have to do at that point because their word is law. You got to hear in my court date how they got to eliminate any and all evidence to prevent me from having access. You also get to hear what the recording is with my sister and the situations prior to that, how Dual County Sheriff's Department had yet again overstepped their boundaries and committed felonies to try to prevent me from turning them in, to cut me off from those resources, to isolate me from those resources and services. Very stupid. The effect of PTSD, turn this around. What triggers PTSD men? The effects of PTSD may persist long after a man experiences a traumatic event. Well, I'm still living mine, just so you know. It says examples of these triggering events can be sexual or physical assault. Well, that definitely applies here, does it not? natural disaster. Actually, there have been a ton of natural disasters in the places that I live, haven't there? We've had fires, there was even explosions. We've also had non-natural disasters like shootings in many of the stores that I used to go to. It says, or military combat. It says, oftentimes men will be unaware that they have PTSD, instead internalizing their systems and assume something is wrong with them. That's because we're taught that something is wrong with us. We need to just man up. Men do not show emotions. Men don't cry. You just need to man up. You need to pull on your big boy panties. We have real police work to do. You just need to man up. It's somebody else's job. Don't you have friends or family that can help you? Or, dude, I don't want to deal with this right now. Okay. That one's a fun one to hear from the cops. Or have you thought about moving somewhere else? What sweethearts? People with PTSD have intense, disturbing thoughts and feelings related to their experience that last long after the traumatic event has ended. Well, my traumatic event hasn't ended. The separation and isolation and gaslighting, I'm still enduring. Disturbing thoughts, yeah, I'm afraid people are going to do those things again, and they have. Me being stuck in public to do this is entirely inappropriate. It says they may have the event through flashbacks or nightmares. They may feel sadness, fear, or anger, and they may feel detached or estranged from other people. Yeah, it's called PTSD, folks. Post-traumatic stress disorder. You can look it up. It's completely different from being delusional. It's completely different from being schizophrenic. Now, Scott Acosta believing that I could be diagnosed with schizophrenia in a day. And also the fact that my predators that I was trying to turn in were allowed to utilize their position of power and the assumption of the honor system. People assumed that because the officer said it, it must be true, with no friend or family member there to say otherwise. Who cares, right? Most of those out on the streets were raped and beaten all blown up, broken the system, got thrown off at the age of 18, or were beaten and raped through horrible situations, or turned in their predators who they were living with and ended up homeless. Many of the men that I know out here have admitted to me that the reason they were homeless was because they were being abused by a wife or spouse or girlfriend, or of course ex-wife or ex-girlfriend if you're lucky. Sometimes you get somebody who's going to stalk you, and women are 11 times more likely to stalk somebody than a man. Women also tend to get a lot of people involved, and they like to go underhand and dirty and backwoods. And just run around all your friends' houses and tell them what a useless piece of crap you are and that you did horrible things that you'd never do. So that's why it's important to save evidence, especially in a world where a man literally cannot turn in crimes against him if he's homeless, if he's ugly, if he has no money, has no supports. And that's the horrible thing, the horrible reality of being an at-risk and disabled adult. There are no teeth to the laws. You people are heartless. Have a nice day.